Hello all. So this session is going to be about how we can perform a table calculations in Tableau. Especially, we are going to look in how we can perform the percentage of total calculations as well as running total calculations using Tableau. You might be wondering as why we are performing this sort of table calculations like running total and percent of total, and will it be really useful for me? This sort of questions might be there. So before we go ahead and try to get answers for this sort of questions that might be there in our mind, first of all, let us try to understand what is the meaning of percent of total. Okay, so the percent of total is one measure that commonly being used when we are performing any type of analysis. So let's see how it is being used. But before that, what is the meaning of percent of total is that the simplest example that I could give you is that this whatever figure which is being shown here. Now you can identify that there are different shapes of items are available here. This is a complete table. Probably you consider this as a complete table. And this table is made using these three elements. Now you wanted to identify how much percentage each of these elements is contributing towards the total elements. So how many total elements are there? Basically there are 12 elements are there totally. So out of this 12, 4 of them are square. So which means 4 divided by 12 into 100 is going to give me the percentage of total, which means the 4 among the total 4 times this square is present, and you wanted to compute the percentage, right? So this is what you call it as a percent of total. Now what might you might be thinking as that this is a kind of elementary level of example that I am giving it to understand the analysis part. Of course it is an elementary type of example. However, this is the same concept which is being used when you wanted to make use of the percent of total in your superstore example if you take. So now that you have a superstore, now superstore is consisting of multiple items. The items that may be available in your superstore could be a bag, furniture, shoes, shampoo and soap. Now you know that your superstore's performance will be definitely analyzed based on each of the sales that each category is making. Now, the problem is that when you wanted to have this sales value, maybe that is a it's a very bigger value. So you just wanted to analyze that using a percentage just because of the reason your superstore might be consisting of multiple items. It doesn't end up with only these 5 items, right? So you will have lot of items. For each of these items, seeing the sales value and coming to a conclusion about which category has contributed how much percentage for the total sales would become a difficult process. So in that situations, converting that values or transforming those values of sales into a percent of total would be really helpful. Okay, so this is the meaning of how your percent of total is going to be used in your Tableau. Now, without wasting much of our time, let's get inside our Tableau environment and see what are the different options that could be understood with the percent of total operations. So let's get inside our Tableau environment. So I'm already there in my Tableau environment. Now, what is the question I had was that which category is contributing how many percentage, how much percentage towards the total sales? That was the question. Now, obviously, if I have to visualize this, I need to have my category. So as I have kept my category, I could see from my superstore, I have 3 categories. One is my furniture and then office supplies and technology. These are the 3 categories is there, but I am unable to find out any text here just because of the reason I haven't, put any measure for this particular dimension. And the measure is basically a sales. That's what we wanted to see, and we will give the label to this. Okay, so now you can see the values here. Now what you're seeing is that now itself you will be thinking like 3 items only is there, and then you wanted to find out who is contributing how much towards the total sales. First of all, if I have to find out the contribution of percentage for the total sales, I need to have my total sales. So for example, so I will go to my analysis, click on my totals, and then you will have show the column grand totals. So let's select the show column grand totals, and you can see that there is a grand total which is being displayed over here. Okay, so now what I need to do is that I just wanted to convert this, or I just wanted to transform this so that I can see how much percentage each of them is computing. So I'll go to the sum of sales itself, and then there is something called as a quick table calculation. Just click on this quick table calculation. You can see that percent of total. Okay, so just click on this percent of total. You can now understand that technology is the highest contributor, who is providing me 36.40% of sales towards my total sales. So these are the values, and if you will add all of these things, then you are going to get 100%. So who is contributing highest for me towards the total sales is that definitely technology. So this visualization is far more better than the previous one which we saw, right? Let me just do a control Z. Yes, you can see here. So this is far more better, right? When you have it in a percentage, that is far more better. Now that you could have got an idea on what is the meaning of your table calculation and what is percent of total. Okay, now that we will try to do the same thing by making use of your bar chart as well. Okay, so because you might be thinking like just because I'm doing it in the textual format, table calculation is something which is restricted to a textual format. So any type of graph could be used. I just wanted to show you that part as well. Okay, so now again we have to I wouldn't have taken that out. So now we have category is there. Now I need to have the sum of the sales itself. So let me just have the sum of the sales, and then it is going to have the text. Okay, so now I will convert this to a bar. So I'll go here and then click on this bar. So now I'm going to get my bar chart, right? So yeah, show me in bar. Yeah, so I'm just getting a bar chart now. Now let me just do one more thing. I'll just convert this, I'll just swap this so that I can see a better visualization. It is like this. So it is in ascending order. If you wanted to keep it in a descending order, you can keep it. Now that there is a bar chart available for you. Okay, so now what we need to do is that yeah, I just have to see the sales. So let me put the text here. Okay, so now I can see the sale values also here. Now how do I convert this to a percent of total? Is just go to sum of your sales, perform the quick table calculation, click on percent of total. Now you can see this. Okay, but wouldn't be very nice if I can keep both the things together, two charts together in the same visualization pane? If I keep it, it'll be helpful for me to do the comparison, right? Which means that I wanted to have the sales also, and then I wanted to have the percent of total also. So how do I do that? Okay, two graphs I wanted to have it basically. So can we have two charts in the same place? So let me just keep one more sum of sales. Yeah, so it is already there now. Okay, so you can see here, there is this one is, it is showing a percent of total, and this one is showing the sales. And down you can see that there is a categories which is getting displayed. So you can do this type of comparison also, or this type of charts would be helpful for you to explain your visualization in a better manner, so that you say that technology has contributed to me 36.399 percentage, and then you associate the corresponding sales also, and if you will display it in this manner, that's going to make a lot of sense. Okay, so that is also possible with respect to Tableau. Now that suppose if I wanted to convert this completely into a cross tab, you can just go here and then just say duplicate as a cross tab. Okay, so once it is duplicated as a cross tab, you can see the values which is getting displayed here. Of course, this categories and then measure names, everything would have been changed automatically. and you can convert this automatically. Any kind of bar chart that you have, you can just make use of this option, and then you can just duplicate that as a cross tab if you wanted to see that visualization as a cross tab. Okay, so that is also possible. And another thing that we can do is that probably we can have the subcategory also. Let me just drop this. Okay, so let me just drop this. Let me just keep my subcategory also. So once I have kept my subcategory also, this kind of visualization again, like, um, which category is giving me high sales, I know it, and which subcategory, each subcategory wise, I could see who has contributed the highest sales for me. Say, for example, phones is there, okay, and that has given me the highest percentage in technology itself. And almost like, if you see, chairs also has given the same sales as that of the phones. So you can understand, like, there is a lot of sales which is happening with respect to chairs and phones. So what is the relativity? And you can find out that, and then I mean, during this those particular seasons, you could probably have more phones and more chairs in your superstore, so that your sales is getting improved. So all kind of insights that you wanted to get it could be obtained in this manner. So this looks really useful for us to analyze the data in a better manner. Okay, so this is one thing that you could do it. And most of the things, if you could see, I have just discussed everything in terms of the bar chart or the cross tab. Now you might be having a question as like, can I use only the bar chart or the cross tab for performing the table calculations? Not necessary. So we can actually see other types of graphs also, and for the other types of graph, how we can do the table calculation also. Let's see that as well. So probably for doing a line or something, I'll keep my order date. We know that very well. Like for whenever we have to deal with the dates, you are going to get a line chart, right? Then we will have a sales itself in our row, and that will automatically create our uh, sales. I mean, line chart is already there now. Now that if you wanted to have multiple lines, like, we can see category wise. So probably I can see, I can keep a category here, and I could see that for each of these categories, I'm able to see how the sales has increased over a time. Like for example, in 2017 for the furniture it was here, and for 2020 how the furniture sales has improved. Similarly for 2017 for the office supplies, it's a great improvement in terms of the sales. So you are able to understand these things. Okay, now if I do not want these values are looking really not pretty for me. So I just wanted to keep this as a percent of total. So what I can do is that just I will go here, quick table calculation, and then I can make use of percent of total. Okay, so I can, I can see that the percentage of total, how much it has increased. So how much this technology has given 11.829, it has contributed. So likewise, you can see the differences here. Okay, so similarly, if you wanted to convert this line chart to a area chart, that is also can be done. Okay, you can see this in the form of a area chart. Okay, so that point of whenever you have to whenever I'm dealing with table calculations, am I restricted with any type of charts? No. So that's the idea that I wanted to give you. So we explored on the table calculation in your different types of charts as well. Okay, so that's one thing that we need to know. And let's explore the other other type of table calculations also. So we can just check year over year growth, how was it there. Okay, so in the same graph, if we will see how does this year over year graph has been. Okay, so you can see that this 2019 has the highest thing. Okay, so for furniture, how much it was, and for, let me just convert this as a line so that it will look very easy for us. So you can see the year of growth was basically 2019. Okay, so in 2019 for the technology, it has actually touched up to 39.06%. and slowly the year of growth is actually reducing in your 2020. Why there is a diminishment in 2020? We can actually analyze with this measure year of growth basically. Okay, so like that you can also analyze the other calculations. So you have you know compound growth rate if you want to see. Okay, so these are some of the all of these are mathematical measures that you can however you wanted it, you can just go ahead and show the values, but most of the time we will be making use of the percent of total. And one more operation that we will commonly use is that running total. Okay, so running total is something that you might be using very often, just because of the reason, like every month your sales is going to be changed. So every month sales that changes, you need to add that to the total sales, right? So suppose for example, I have you know for example, I have something like this. Okay, so I have something like this. Okay, now what I have here is that I have a sales here. Okay, and I have the sales month wise. So April I have a date, and then I have month May month. Like this, I'll be having my sales. Okay, and this is my total. Let me keep it like total. Okay, so April month, if the sales is 5, the total is 5. Okay, in May month, if the sales is 10, then my total will be 10 plus 5, 15. Okay, so likewise, if I have again 10 more sales, then 15 plus 10 is equal to 25. This is what you call it as a running total. Okay, so now let's see how we can perform this running total in our use case. Okay, so let's get inside our Tableau environment, and let me just drop these things. Okay, so maybe I will keep my order date itself, and I will just keep the monthly order date here. Okay, and then sales is what I will keep it as my row. Okay, no problem. And now what I wanted to do is that I wanted to keep this sales not in continuous format. I'll just keep it in my discrete format. Okay, so now you can see that it is in discrete format, and let's do the calculation here. So now I have this this quick table calculation. It is actually compound growth rate is there. So now let's compute the running total. Okay, you can see that how this running total is. Of course, the running total needs to be in linearly increasing, just because of the reason you will be continuously adding the totals, right? So that's how this is computed basically. Okay, and if you wanted to see the same thing in a bar graph, then again you can just put the sales here. Okay, so that will show you in this, let's choose it as a bar graph. So you can see that this is been showed in your bar graph. Okay, so these are different options that you could probably use to perform various type of table calculations in your Tableau. So I hope you got an idea on the different types of table calculations in Tableau. And yeah, so there is one more very interesting concept which is there in Tableau, which will speak about the level of expressions. So we will look into the level of expressions in the next session. That's all I have for this session. Thank you.